Hello everybody and welcome back. As usual, I am your host Chase Bierenkoven, and this week on the Overrun we are taking a look at the 2026 Mazda CX-30. Mazda's current crop of cars are well suited to the person who likes a big car that drives like a little one. After all, this is the same company that makes the Miata. They're also pretty well suited to the technophobe, for better or worse. And on top of that, Mazda relies on premium upscale interiors and a lack of tech and great driving dynamics to get butts in seats. So that's exactly what we did. We drove the CX-30, and it does drive great, especially with the turbocharged powertrain. But today on the Overrun, we'll find out if the rest holds up too. Now let's talk styling, or what of it there is. The CX-30 is very minimally styled. These Air Edition models that are new for 26 get a blacked out grille fascia, so this little thing right here, normally that's silver. In this case, it's black. I think the silver adds a little bit of panache to the whole thing because this is really just like the most crossover shape ever. Follow me down the side and I'll show you what there is to see. For one, you can see that there's plastic cladding that runs the length of the body. I'm not such a huge fan of that, but it's there. I do like this little kick up at the end here. I think that's kind of a nice little touch. And then moving around the back, you can see that this by and large has the same taillight configuration as the Miata, which I think gives it sort of this nice sporty look. You can see that it's even got 2 exhaust pipes, and all of that snow just went straight down the back of my hoodie. That got so much worse, dude. Cut the take, help me. Under the hood of the CX-30, you will find one of 2 powertrains depending on your given trim configuration. Either way, it's a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. The naturally aspirated version makes 191 horsepower, whereas this turbocharged one makes a whopping 250, which feels like a lot in a small crossover like this. No matter what though, it's mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission and standard all-wheel drive, which is something that Mazda offers that some competitors don't. So inside the Mazda CX-30. Now, this is the nicest one that you can get, and as such, with the Air Edition, you are going to get some stuff that you wouldn't otherwise get in a CX-30, like these 2-tone seats. You can see they are a blend of cloth and a synthetic leather on the outside. I think they're really nice, and they add a little bit of texture to the interior. Speaking of textures, of course, there's also this nice sort of suede-y material on the dash, and some leather and contrast stitching up here, which is super nice. And by and large, I would say that this interior really delivers on the point that Mazda tries to hammer home, which is offering a really nice upscale interior that doesn't bathe you in technology. Of course, there is a little bit of technology to talk about. For one, there is this optional 10.25-inch touchscreen, which you can see runs CarPlay flawlessly and also wirelessly. And for the first time, Mazda allows you to use that as a touchscreen. Now, normally when you're not using phone projection, what you have to do is you have to come down here to the rotary dials and use this system of controls here to control the center screen. And that is true when you're not using CarPlay. On top of that, there's also a sort of digital gauge cluster. It's really just a small screen centered around the speedometer, and there's really not a lot of customization in there. It's less than pretty much any new car I've driven in recent memory. You can look at your fuel economy, the status of your driver aids, and that is it. You cannot even view what track is playing in there, and I believe that that's intentional. This interior is designed to be very minimal and feel very upscale, and I would say that by and large, it achieves that. So obviously, given the fact that this is a sub $35,000 entry-level crossover, there's really not a lot going on back here. There are some seats, and they look just like the ones in front, and there are some vents. That's all you're getting back here. That's just fine. Let's talk a little bit about room instead. I'm sitting behind myself right now, and you can see that I actually have a ton of room for my feet, which I think is how Mazda tries to fit taller people in here. You can see that headroom is a little bit limited, but by and large, it's okay. Your taller adult friends are probably not going to fit so great, but that's the small crossover. Behind the rear seats of the CX-30, you will find about 20 cubic feet of cargo space, which no is not a lot, but this is a small crossover. And I suspect that the reason for that is largely this sloped roofline that you find back here. So you're trading style for a little bit of cargo capacity. There is one nice little touch back here. You can see up here on the top of the boot lid, there's a lock button. This isn't a powered tailgate, but you can actually just lock the car with this button and then pull the boot closed, which is a nice little luxury feature. Okay, so let's talk about how the CX-30 drives, because that is kind of the whole point here, isn't it? The CX-30 is supposed to drive really nice. And, woo! apparently will get just a touch sideways if it's icy enough out, which it very much is. So let's maybe start there. Let's start with the all-wheel drive system. It's standard, of course, and that's really nice to have when it's a little crappy out. This just has all-season tires on it, and I feel like I have a ton of grip and confidence, and on top of that, on dry pavement, this doesn't feel like a mess of understeer either. Now, I've got to stop complimenting the CX-30 for a moment and be a little bit mean. This 6-speed automatic transmission, for how nice this thing drives, feels a little out of place. It upshifts just fine, but some of the downshifts are, well, I think they're a little bit like an out-of-time drummer. If you've ever played to a backing track or with a band, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a little hard to know when it is coming.
Pause.
It's either going to be before or after, but you don't know when or where it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
And that's what the downshifts are like. They're a little ponderous and a little mistimed. And when this drives as nice as it does, it can be a little bit distracting. This just drives nice. It's a nice car to drive. It's quiet. I can see very well out the front, although I can't see very well out the back. The materials are nice. I got my heated seats going. And as a bit of a technophobe, I kind of like this interior experience. I have foam projection, of course, but I'm not constantly beholden to the technology. I don't need to navigate through it all the time. Once the stuff is there, it's set, it's forgotten about. There's also a ton of buttons in here, which I love, and all of that contributes to what does really feel like a nice, premium, upscale driving experience for a car that costs under $35,000. And I think that that's pretty impressive. If you're a car enthusiast, like me, who maybe through the circumstances of their own life has been forced to recognize that perhaps that beat-up old sports car or that Mazda Miata is just not a practical car to drive to work every day anymore, well, maybe the CX-30 is for you, because a lot of the things that we like about our enthusiast cars are present here too. The steering is really nice. This turbocharged powertrain feels really peppy. It feels quick. It sounds nice without being too boisterous. All of those things are present, and so if you're kind of looking for that car that doesn't mean that you have to compromise on the things that you love about driving, but you do need a crossover, this might be the one for you. The CX-30's two biggest competitors, the Chevrolet Trax and the Kia Seltos, both start on the right side of $26,000. However, given the premium, slightly luxury ethos, Mazda, of course, charges a little bit more. $27,500 is the starting point for the CX-30 lineup, but something like this is going to be closer to $33,000. And that is, of course, due to the nicer materials, standard all-wheel drive, and more powerful powertrains that you're going to get in a CX-30. Of course, there is an argument for the competitors. For instance, the Chevrolet Trax, watch for that video coming soon, offers a little bit more storage space and a much broader focus on technology than the Mazda. Of course, the Seltos does the same, using Kia's excellent dual-screen infotainment system. It also boasts the largest cargo capacity of the three, and therefore makes it the small crossover SUV of choice if you'll be hauling a lot of cargo. Regardless, though, the Miata relies, of course, on that premium interior experience to deliver on its higher price point. Mazda stays true to its ethos as a driver's brand. They really do walk and talk that whole Jinba Atai thing, the oneness of horse and rider. It's the philosophy that Mazda's designers apply to all of its vehicles. And this really is a nice driving little crossover, especially with that 250 horsepower powertrain. Now, of course, other competitors do focus on other things. The Chevy Trax is more affordable and goes bigger on tech, and the Kia Seltos offers more of the same, as well as some pretty solid cargo capacity. But if you want a nice little crossover that drives just a little bit like a Miata and is a nice place to spend some time, the Mazda CX-30 might just be for you. You'll just have to pay for it. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I do want to remind you before we get out of here, please do remember to like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and helps us keep doing what we love. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.